Hello, and welcome to Witchy Woman Podcast. I am your host, Danae Sweet, and this is Season 5, Episode 13. So today I am going to share a recording I did back in 2023, and I was full of rage and, just absolutely pissed the fuck off at the world, and mostly, decisions that were being made at that point. And anyway, I wanted to share this because it has, a relatively modern day witch hunt example and story in it. And I wanted some trigger warnings before we even get into this episode. We're going to be talking about murder and violence. And if those are things that you would just rather not hear about, then go wait till next episode, okay? I totally get it. We wake up every fucking morning and we have violence and bad news and scary shit shoved down our throats from the moment we open our eyes and get on social media or check our news apps or whatever you do in the morning to be aware of the world. Most of it seems like it's just all crap. So I totally get it if you don't want to listen. But anyway, so we're going to start out with the modern day witch hunt. Well, it was back in 2023 when I had recorded and did the research for this, but it is awful. And then after that, we're going to talk about Hypatia and how she was, made a scapegoat because she was fucking smart and people were listening to her, and a well-educated, well-spoken woman is dangerous as fuck when it comes to the patriarchy and the church. All right, so enjoy this episode I recorded in 2023. Let's spin the globe over to South Africa to the village of Mama Mulele, Limpopo. I'm so sorry if I didn't get that right. A woman in her early 70s was walking her way home from a visit to a local clinic. So imagine her skin weathered from sun exposure and aging. She may have had a little shuffle to her step from some arthritis and stiffness, and she probably had some missing teeth. At some point on her walk, she was confronted by a 35-year-old male accusing her of witchcraft. The elderly woman didn't stand a chance against the man, and while she called out for help, he smashed her skull in with a rock. Yeah, a rock. This information came from an article dated 16th of November this year. This fucking year. That's awful. Another instance I found was in 2022 of 4 men who killed an 88-year-old woman named Menundu because they thought that she was a witch. They decided because she was wrinkly, had missing teeth, and looked old, that these were things that obviously defined her as a witch. And because they were having things going wrong for them in their personal lives, that she was obviously the reason, and that she had to die for being an accused witch. They trapped her in her little hut and lit it on fire in the hopes of burning her alive. But she miraculously escaped. The article didn't say how, but it said she escaped. But they ended up recapturing her and drowned her in a barrel of fucking water. Yeah, a barrel of water. What is even more fucked up than that is that these people, 3 of these men, were related to her. And the other man, well, that was her neighbor, and he told the police that after they captured her, that some villagers cheered them on, and no one tried to help her. These men were all sentenced to life in prison, but it doesn't seem to be a deterrent for these kinds of killings, because I found a lot of articles about women and some men being killed for being accused of witchcraft. And while it doesn't, the area doesn't condone that, it definitely isn't doing a lot to stop it. So I was looking up things about the area and statistics, and South African Police Service reported that in 2019-2020 statistics that there were 197 witchcraft-related crimes against people. they have a 65-year-old witchcraft Suppression Act that defines witchcraft and also sets some consequences for accusing someone of witchcraft and that accusation leading to someone's death. So if you accuse somebody of witchcraft and they haven't done any and you kill them, then you can go to jail. But what that bill really does, it just outlines how to tell who a witch is in their society and what you can do about it. I have the statistics that I just mentioned, and I have the articles, and I will put those in the show notes so that if you want to peruse them, then you definitely can. So these communities are highly superstitious. Anyone that is elderly has the physical traits of being a so-called witch there. They have wrinkles, missing teeth, yellowed eyes, and other physical traits of the elderly. Those with dementia are especially at risk of attack there. Another group of people being accused of being witches are those with albinism. Is that how you say it? Albinism. The threats and instances of violence against the elderly and other minority groups in that area have caused some to just up and fucking leave their homes. They just are leaving because if they stay, they're probably going to get accused of witchcraft at some point there, and that is very, very dire. It's fatal. It blows my fucking mind. I know I shouldn't be surprised by this, but fuck. And when I Googled like witchcraft killings, around the world, there were so many entries. I Google it. Just Google it and see what you can find. And put like the year in, put 2023 in there. That way you get current things. It's scary. So it's all a similar plot though, isn't it? Someone is different, and that makes someone else uncomfortable. And this leads to them making them into some kind of character that practices witchcraft or something quote-unquote evil and is responsible for whatever is going on in the accuser's life. It makes me fucking sick to read these stories, but it's important to know that we aren't living in a post-witch hunt world. This is happening all over the globe. I know it's not at the scale of the actual witch hunts, in history. However, it's alarming to know how much of this is still going on. And I'm going to share these current stories with each historical story that I share so that we don't forget that this is still happening to all kinds of people. Okay, so that was super depressing. But let's get on to the story of Hypatia. So Hypatia was born a female, born in 355 CE in Alexandria, Egypt, and was the daughter of Theon of Alexandria. I tried to find a mention of who her mother was, but unsurprisingly, I found that historians aren't sure who she is or just left it the fuck out. I found that Hypatia was raised by her father, who wanted to make her quote unquote a perfect human, to which he defined that by being physically and mentally healthy. Her father was a mathematician and astrologer who was the last known member of the Alexandrian Museum. The Alexandrian Museum was like the heart of the city, and it was a place for scholars to teach and to be taught. Theon taught Hypatia all he knew about math and the planets. He also thought that the skill of public speaking was very important for her, and she learned how to basically work a crowd. She was amazing at it, and he taught her that. She grew up around other important men in Alexandria and became well known for her intelligence and charisma. She worked with her father on updating old textbooks on geometry, algebra, and astronomy. Because it was a man's world, and women, weren't published or taken seriously very much at this time, some historians theorized that Book 3 of her father's version of Ptolemy's Almagest was actually the work of Hypatia. Yay, patriarchy. She worked tirelessly on preserving the Greek system of mathematics and astronomy in times where Christianity had been totally given it the side eye. Like, really? Yeah. Preserving texts and building on those ideas were her life's work. Basically, she was a smart, charismatic woman that surrounded herself with influential men, making her influential. She used that, which is amazing that she's like, I have a platform, let me fucking use it. So she worked on preserving that Greek system, even though Christianity and the church was frowning upon any of those old traditions and those old systems, because of course they want to fucking replace it with their own shit, right? So she ended up becoming the world's leading astronomer and mathematician of her time. Being a woman with this notoriety and title brought with it many, many students, to which she shared her knowledge with freely and very enthusiastically. She seemed like, from what I read, is that she enjoyed teaching. She wanted to spread knowledge that she had gained to other people. There were even letters from one of her students, Synesius, I think that's how you say it. They indicate that these lessons included how to design an astrolabe, a portable astronomical calculator that would be used until the 19th century. That's amazing. One area that she became a leading expert in was Neoplatonism, which I literally had to search the words Neoplatonism for dummies to get a rough understanding of what the fuck it is. Basically, like, this is what I can Google it. If you're smarter than me, you'll probably understand it better. But basically, it's the teachings of Plato version 2.0. Basically, they believe that there's the one divine energy at the top of a hierarchy with lesser beings under that being. This included angels, demons, and other deities. It discussed the existence of things outside time and space, which I thought that was cool, kind of like other dimension type stuff. This labeled followers of this philosophy as pagans or enemies of the church. And as you can imagine, it was frowned upon by Christians and Jews of the time. I thought it was kind of funny that her student, Synesius, would become a bishop in the Christian church and incorporate Neoplatonic principles into the doctrine of the Trinity. So the Trinity has roots from Synesius into in Neoplatonism, which I think that's fucking awesome. One thing I really think that is important to say is that she stayed single and celibate to carry on the teachings of Plato about abolishing the family system. She was a fucking rebel, a highly intelligent thorn in the side of Christians and Jews at the time. Imagine a time where women really didn't do what she was doing. She got up in the morning, put on a scholarly robe, and placed herself in a public square, possibly like standing up on something to elevate herself above the crowd. She would speak of Neoplatonism, mathematics, and astronomy to crowds of Alexandrians. She was attractive, intelligent, and was an expert at public speaking. She drew her listeners in, and they drank in every little drop of knowledge that she had to teach. And she continually grew her followers and students. To set the stage properly for what the fuck happened next, I think we need to talk about the politics in the area at the time, that time in history. Okay, so there's a lot of words here, names that I'm probably going to butcher, but Theophilus the First of Alexandria was the 22nd third. Fuck me. Really? I need more coffee. He was the 23rd Pope of Alexandria. Fuck. In 391, his followers found a secret pagan temple. And to provoke an attack from the pagans, he and his Christian followers mocked and displayed pagan artifacts in public forums. So they went into this sacred temple of some other religion, just fucked it up, grabbed the stuff that was on the altars and used for worship, walked them out into public, and made fun of all this shit. So it proved enough to earn a pretty violent response from the pagans, and so they returned the attack and drove pagans out. Now, I just want to pause here and go, I don't know where I've heard this particular like war technique before of manipulating public perception, but I do believe that it's being used maybe currently. I don't know. Anyway, I'll just leave you with that. But I don't want to get into too much of current politics, but it just seems like that particular tactic is used over and over and over still today. And it's fucking makes me sick. So anyway, they drove the pagans out. Theophilus destroyed their temple and used this as an example for other pagans. Should they not convert to Christianity, this is the shit that they can look forward to. He also destroyed what was left of the Library of Alexandria, a common tactic of the church to withhold any history that isn't in line with the narrative that they want to promote at the time. Cineas, a student that I was talking about before, of Hypatia's, was friends with Theophilus and spared her being associated with the pagans of the opposition and allowed her to study and teach. So even though she was associated with said pagans that got their asses whooped and were doing the quote-unquote evil stuff, because she had political associations, like she was favored by many of the political men in the area, they spared her life. How nice of them. So then comes this person named Cyril, and that is a nephew of Theophilus, and he succeeded his uncle and definitely held on to that grudge and hostility toward any other faith. Like, Christianity was the only way, every other way deserves nothing but death and destruction. So now comes in a character called Orestes, I think is his name. And he was the governor of Alexandria and a newly converted Christian. But he did not have the same views as a lot of the church members, the Christians at that time. He didn't hold the view that the church was equal or above the government. To me, he seemed to have like a separate church and state type view. And this man was like a huge admirer of Hypatia. He went to all of her lectures, admired her beauty and intelligence, and basically pined after her. Cyril and Orestes were two sides to Alexandria, one in favor of free thinking and the other favoring the church and complete control of Alexandria. At some point, there was a massacre of Christians by Jewish extremists. To counter this, Cyril led a crowd and expelled all Jews from Alexandria and then looted their temples and homes. So Cyril basically took it one step further and was like, you can't be Jewish either. Like, before they kind of tolerated it, and now absolutely not. And when I say tolerated, I meant like they really didn't tolerate it, but it was not as big of a, goal of the church at the time. But now it is. So Orestes protested to the Roman government in Constantinople, saying that this was bullshit. Like, hey, Roman government, this guy here, Cyril, is a fucking loose cannon, and he's just killing everybody if they're not, Christian. They don't convert to the Roman church. Cyril then tried to make nice with Orestes, but it was too late for that. Orestes refused to concede to the rule of the church, so Cyril tried to have him assassinated, but he fucked up and failed. So I'm sure that bruised his ego and just made him more pissed off. See, two men fighting caused a lot of things. So he has this bruised ego and is really upset because he couldn't kill Orestes. So Cyril's followers and him turned their attention to Hypatia, the nearest target. She was everything that they hated. She spoke of intelligent ideas that the church wanted no part of being spread to Alexandrians. She was unguarded and vulnerable. So that made her hated and an easy target in their eyes. Her association with Orestes and her being popular sealed her fate. A rumor was spreading around that she was the reason that Cyril and Orestes haven't made peace. Basically, they were like, Cyril and Orestes would be besties if it wasn't for Hypatia. Hypatia's like whispering on Orestes' ear saying, don't make nice. Now, this was not true, but it was enough to ignite like a horrible, horrible event. Yeah. So it went from that rumor to also spreading rumors of her being controlling and using magic to control Orestes, and that she was using satanic magic to keep him from going to church and drawing more followers to her instead of the church. So in comes another character called Peter the Lector, and he formed a mob and went looking for her. Basically, torches and pitchforks and let's go get this woman. During the Christian season of Lent, the mob found Hypatia in her carriage and drug her out of it. They dragged her to a former pagan temple turned church, stripped her of her clothing. Then they used what is translated as oyster shells to cut and scrape her flesh off of the bone and to scoop out her eyeballs. They tore her body into pieces and dragged them to a place called Cenarion and set her body parts on fire. Now, at this time in history, this particular method of, death, torture, and punishment was reserved for the most vile of criminals in the city, which she had not done anything to anyone other than teach and be intelligent. So there's a teeny bit of controversy as to why she was murdered this particular way. Was she murdered because she was technically a pagan and didn't join the church? Or was it because Cyril was a jealous little bitch of her influence over Orestes? I'm thinking the latter, but whatever. So there's a mathematician from Canada, Ari Belenki. I think that's how you say it. Belenki. And they argue that Hypatia had been involved in a debate over the Christian holiday of Easter, and that it was supported by the fact that she was killed on the vernal equinox. Other historians disagree, and there's no solid proof right now of the mathematician's hypothesis. However, come on. I don't think it's a coincidence that she was murdered on that specific date, on fucking their supposed Easter in 417. That was the year she died. And so Hypatia was notably the matriarch of astronomy, mathematics, and Neoplatonism philosophy. Her intelligence and popularity was a threat to the church. Period. So they created a narrative in which she was using magic to control the governor and sway politics her way. How has humanity not learned that this is the standard for the church and the patriarchy? How has this not fucking changed? It blows my fucking mind when I get into reading all this stuff, and then I liken what's happening, then, and the political climate then and what it is like now. How has this not fucking changed? They will turn anyone into a villain if they feel that their precious church and the narrative that they would like to preach to the fucking world has been threatened. No matter what, and no matter who they have to murder in the process. Oh my God, I was so mad. That's the end of that, the episode recording. I had to laugh because the end of that sounded like I was so mad, but my voice it sounds so little. It's, oh my God, whoever they have to murder. That's what it sounded like to me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. It was not a funny episode whatsoever. But I'm listening to me. I remember doing it. I remember how fucking mad I was. I remember sitting at my desk downstairs in my little Harry Potter corner underneath the stairs recording this after I had done all this research. And I was so fucking mad. But anyway, I hope anyone listening, I hope that you're okay. I hope that despite feeling like the world is on fire and everything's crumbling around us, I hope you're okay. I hope that you have at least one person that you can go to find comfort. I hope that you have moments where you can find peace. Like, I don't even expect days of peace anymore. I look for the small moments. Like today I was outside. It's hotter than fuck today. It's April. It's the middle of, it's just so hot here in Nebraska, and it's weird. It's not supposed to be this hot, but it's like almost 90 degrees today. It probably hit 90 by now. But I was outside and I was moving my sprinklers around, trying to get something to fucking grow in my yard because it's all sand on, well, my south lawn, like the south lawn, that sounds uppity as fuck. It's a tiny little lawn in the front. My front yard and then the stuff on the side where all the construction was done is just a fucking sand pit. And last year I tried planting stuff and we just didn't, I watered it, but this winter we did not have the snow at all or any significant moisture, so not a lot is sprouting. So I have to replant things, and I'm watering stuff, and I'm hot, and I'm pissed off outside because I'm a big baby and I don't like to sweat. So I'm outside doing that, and I see this cute fucking little rabbit, and the bunny is like eating on some plants that are kind of on the edge of where my water was before after I moved it. So it was like eating the wet leaves. And I would imagine that felt pretty fucking good to be a super hot bunno out there. So that made me think that was the peaceful moment of the day. That's what I'm getting at, is that I sat there and I watched this rabbit, like just mow down on what is probably the beginning of a sandbur plant. So I was like, yes, please eat that. But I'm trying to intentionally do that. Like when I find a moment like that, I want to sit with it for a little bit because that might be the only little spark of peace or happy that I have all fucking day. Because, we exist in this wonderful hellscape at this point. So do something intentional. Find a little bit of peace, no matter how shitty the day is. Try. Some days I fail and I find nothing enjoyable. I find nothing amusing or beautiful or anything because I'm just in a pissy mood and I'm overwhelmed and overstimulated. But I still try. So I would encourage you to try to find something like that each day. I write mine down in a little little journal pad thing that I got from the dollar store. I write the date down, and if I can find anything that day that I can remember that I had like a little bit of a spark, I write that down. I have a lot of empty entries, but the ones that I do have, they mean something. So what are you guys doing to keep yourself sane? I know that I'm highly privileged that I can go to therapy. I have therapy every fucking week. I have it every week. I have incorporated the little find the one peaceful, joyful something or other per day. I'm journaling. Do I journal every day? No. I have ADHD. I'm lucky if I journal 3 times a week. Like, that's a big week for me. Aside from my happy thing a day. What else am I doing? I'm growing things. I've got a fuckload of little, gosh, I'm really a potty mouth today. Sorry. I'm growing a lot of seeds inside. Growing seeds. I'm growing plants out of seeds. Fuck. Anyway, so I've got a whole bunch of little baby plants up here in like those little seed trays and stuff. So that when they're big enough, I can put them outside in my flower beds. This year, I trying really hard to only get perennial flowers and vegetables. And it's kind of fucking hard to find perennial vegetables for the growing zone that I'm in. I'm having to opt for some non-traditional choices, which is fine. But I thought it would be really cool to make a sustainable garden and flower garden. That way I don't have to replant that shit every year. So I don't know. When that starts, I'll start updating everybody. But right now, everything's just in little seed trays. I'll take some pictures and put them on Instagram in my story or something so y'all can see. I have been doing like little Sunday fun day days where I get whatever adult thing I have to do during that day. I get it done first thing in the morning, or I just don't do anything that's adulting if I can. And I do something creative. Like I paint, I write a little bit on my book. I have, what else? Oh, I did some sculpting, just things like that. Oh, I made a really cool, I don't know how to explain it. It's a neon light that I got when I just got out of surgery. I got home and then got online, and I shouldn't have done that. But I got this neon light that says welcome to our coven or something like that. I think it says welcome to our coven, and it's cool, and it's purple, and it's a really cool neon light. But I put it inside an old a frame that the pictures and stuff and the glass had broken, so I put it in that with fake moss and flowers and shit, like you see on those Instagram those perfect Instagram profiles where they have the cool welcome thingy in all of the fake foliage. Jesus, I can't talk today. Anyway, I'll take a picture of that too. I'll share that. But anyway, those are the things I've been doing to try to make me feel like I'm human and I'm living my life, because otherwise it's just rage, frustration, panic, rage, frustration, panic, and then eventually sadness, and then rinse and repeat. So I'm trying very hard to disrupt the pattern, and I would love to know what y'all are doing. So if you are on social media, I'm going to put a post up. I'm going to be like, hey, what are you guys doing to stay sane, whether it's witchy or spiritual or whatever? Let's help each other out. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. So stay witchy. Bye-bye.